So Star Trek, the animated series, continues on with an episode called BIM, which is all about this ambassador who's hanging out with Kirk and crew and decides to accompany them on a mission to this planet that they want to check out. This is definitely an episode that could not have been done on the show. Certainly not in the way it was done here, because it turns out BIM is what they call a colony being, meaning he looks, well, he didn't look human at all. He had some kind of weird, almost reptilian, green-skinned face, but his body is made up of different parts, so he can separate his body. His arms can come apart, his upper torso can float around, his legs take off, and apparently there's some other arms inside his pants. And he's there on some mission of his own to observe. And right off the bat, you can't help but think that, he's luring them into a trap or something like that. But it turns out that's not quite what he's doing. He's literally there to observe. And he and Kirk don't get along because Kirk's irritated with the guy, not the least of which that he swaps out Kirk's phaser and communicator along with Spock's by ruffling through their pockets and stuff while they were underwater. They didn't feel any of that. I don't know. And replacing them with facsimiles. So it turns out the planet's main species are these dinosaur people, like lizard guys, and they're not very advanced. They're living in a village and all that. The type of civilization that the Federation could observe from afar but not interfere with. So they're already in a mess with that. And BIM gets captured. And so Kirk and Spock decide to go rescue him. Well, they get captured too. Of course, their phasers don't work and all that. And they're like, what the hell is this all about? And he says, oh, this is how I can observe. And, they're like, oh, my God. And they said, we need our phasers back and our communicators and all that. So he gives them their phasers by splitting himself into many parts and just walking out of the cage and then leaves. So he's quite the a-hole. So you can understand why Kirk not liking this guy. So Kirk and Spock they get out, they phaser the cage, and then here come the lizards, and then all of a sudden this godlike being, once again, a godlike being in Star Trek. I don't know if you can say it appears. It's just a bunch of glowing lights happen, and everyone's sort of paralyzed in place, and some woman's voice is the voice of this god or goddess, I guess. It says, these are my children. You'll leave them alone. And the phasers just disappear. And so Kirk and Spock are recaptured, probably going to get eaten. And then, but they still had their communicators, so I guess she just didn't think that was a threat. And they're able to burst through and contact the entity. And Kirk says, hey, look, we'll leave. We didn't understand. And then she says, all right, cool. So they're able to contact the ship and everything. But then Kirk says, hey, we can't just leave BIM here, even though he's an asshole. We got to find him. So I know. I'll have Scotty beam down a security force. So they do. And, of course, they end up fighting with the lizards and phasering a bunch of them. And the BIM guy says, oh, I guess I really screwed things up. You think, huh? So the goddess tunes back in and says, hey, what the hell? You said you would leave. But Kirk's able to explain everything. So she's like, all right. And then so they're able to leave. And Kirk says, we'll never bother you again. So they quarantine the planet and say, hey, that's kind of interesting. This godlike intelligence is basically experimenting on these lizard people to help them advance. But hey, that's their business, In the old shows, they would have those planets, so a computer was behind it all, and that was their god and stuff. What would Kirk do? He'd phaser it. Not going to get far with this godlike entity, so you just got to accept it, But hey, it's their way. So, it was all right. It's kind of silly. But it worked out okay, I guess. It's just, I would. I think they would have to come up with some other clever means by how they got around this godlike entity, because he just told her I'm leaving, and then you beam down a security force and shoot her lizards. I don't think that was going to go over very well. So I think they got to drop the ball there. But of course, there's only so much time in a little cartoon show, so I don't know. I guess she, once again, the female found Kirk really charming and gave him a third chance. That's the only way to get out of this. Is like, yeah, the ladies loved Kirk, So I guess we'll go with that.